Greetings, this is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. Have you ever found yourself waking up and not having control over your body? Your mind is awake, but your body is frozen still. Paralyzed. Even worse, have you ever had the experience where you feel like there are shadow figures standing around your body, watching you, observing you? Well, as it turns out, this is a pretty common thing. Sleep paralysis or waking paralysis tends to happen to a lot of people every night. Not to be confused with night terrors. This is something a bit milder. But in this video, I wanted to cover a little bit of information about sleep paralysis and what to do to avoid getting into a fit of anxiety and fear. So somebody messaged me on Instagram, interesting story about how this person had a friend who constantly would wake up in his mind, but his body would be frozen, and he would have these shadow figures around him, watching him, sometimes whispering. His friend, of course, didn't really take him too seriously, but eventually these two moved in together. And the guy that messaged me mentioned how suddenly he began having the same experience where he'd wake up but not be able to use his body, and he'd begin to see these shadow figures standing around him. Pretty terrifying, especially if this is not something that you're used to. So I want to talk a little bit about astral travel and how these things connect. Essentially, the misconception is that, when you sleep and dream and you astral travel, your spirit leaves your body and you go to another place. What's actually happening here is that there are different levels of consciousness that are layered, from the God tier all the way down to the physical human tier. All right. To keep things simple, I like to break it down into 3 layers: the physical layer, then the spirit layer on top, and then the mental layer at the very top. What is going on is that your personal energy is your consciousness. It is your attention. And what's happening is you exist in all 3 of these bodies at once. But during sleep, when your body actually turns off, your attention, your focus, and your consciousness moves up into the next body. So to really practice doing astral travel or lucid dreaming on purpose, the focus is to move your attention into the next body, right? They're all operating simultaneously. It's just that the brain scan shows that the level of awareness that you're experiencing shifts from alpha state to another state. And what's actually going on is that your attention is now focused on a different frequency, on a different plane of existence. So what happens is that your attention is now shifting to this next realm. And this is the realm of spirit. And everything in spirit is symbolic. Okay, that's why when you have these dreams, they don't necessarily make sense, but you're seeing a lot of different symbols. And the way to interpret your dreams is to understand what each symbol means to you personally, right? If I see an elephant in my dream, it's going to mean something different from an elephant in your dream, because the associations that I have with an elephant are different from what you have. Now, on the flip side, there's a thing called the collective unconscious, right? And this is a certain level of awareness that is connected to every human being on the planet. This also connects to something called the morphogenic field or the morphic grid. Now, this layer of consciousness contains all of the experience of everyone who's ever lived. All right, it's kind of like a database of information and experience. And most people who operate on such a low frequency of just every day, wake up, go to work, look for the next person to have sex with, eat, and repeat the cycle. Most of these people are on a very low awareness, low frequency. And this collective unconscious is the radio station that they're tuned into. So a lot of times the thoughts that people are having in their heads that aren't being generated by them are just these random thoughts that are floating around in this collective unconscious, right? That's why a lot of people I consider are for lack of a better word, zombies or automatons. Some people even call them soulless vessels. But anyway, these people are operating at such a low level of attention and awareness that they're just receiving automatic thoughts that are going on in the collective unconscious field. Those of us who seek to raise our vibration and live on a higher plane, we rise above the thoughts of the collective unconscious. This is why in a lot of my videos you hear me say it's very important to meditate. Because when you meditate, you take that time to separate from those thoughts. You take the time to clear a space, to define a space that is yours, so that you can make the difference between your own thoughts and the thoughts of the collective unconscious. Because a person who doesn't know the difference is being pushed to and fro by the waves of all of humanity. And this wave of humanity doesn't really care about the individual. So you may find yourself being pushed in a negative direction. Most of the time, these thoughts are based on emotions. These thoughts are based off of pleasing the five senses. Spirit operates on a level higher than the five senses. When you hear intuition, the voice of intuition is speaking to you through a level that is above the collective unconscious, right? This is why people say that they're conscious, that they're woke, because they supposedly are paying attention to that voice that has risen above the collective unconscious. Anyway, when you sleep, your focus, your attention, your consciousness goes out of the physical and up into the spirit realm. It's a transition. Now, what happens sometimes is that their physical body is awakened before their attention is able to fully integrate back into the body. And what happens is you're kind of conscious in two places at once. You're conscious in the dream realm and the physical realm. Now, like I said, in the dream realm, everything is symbolic. So the first instinct for most basic level people is to panic, is to go into a state of fear because you don't know what's going on. How come I can't use my body? What's this all about? This vibration of fear is extremely low, okay? And what's happening is that low vibration of fear is being transmitted up into your spirit body. Now, the spirit realm, the dream realm is very symbolic, like I stated. So if you're experiencing these low vibrations of fear and anxiety, you're going to begin to produce symbols that correspond with fear and anxiety, right? And a lot of times this often manifests as shadow people or men in black, right? Or these scary figures that threaten you, right? What's going on is it's a feedback. Because when you're in the spirit realm, what you focus on is produced and sent back to you. Okay, so there's not actually scary demons in the room that are trying to hurt you. It's that your vibrations are so low, your energy is leaking out of you. And that leakage, that fear, that low vibration is manifesting as things that scare you. It's your spirit communicating back to your mind. Your subconscious mind is talking to you. Since you're feeling fear, you're seeing fear. And this just escalates, as fear does. When you get into a state of fear and panic and anxiety, it only multiplies, which is why I always stress in my videos to maintain your frame, right? When you're experiencing this, the first thing you have to do is recognize, okay, here I am. I'm in control. Nothing is in the room that's going to hurt me. Even though I feel afraid, even though I feel like there's something that's out to get me, or it feels uncomfortable, my mind is in control. And what I focus on expands. So instead of focusing on fear, I'm going to focus on my body to bring my awareness back. If you just wait a few minutes, eventually you'll regain control of your body. So instead of focusing on these shadow figures that you may or may not see, focus on your own energy returning to your body. Because see, a lot of times with this magic, and a lot of these books and these different techniques, a lot of people complain that, oh, you can't prove this, it isn't real. When dealing with magic and spirituality, it is a symbolic system because we're dealing with the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is a symbol-based operating system. It speaks through symbols, right? So a lot of these different techniques in these books are getting you to think symbolically in such a way to structure and organize your energy so you can effectively use it on purpose, okay? So when your body is laying in bed and you're paralyzed, come to your senses and understand, okay, it's only going to be just a few more moments before I regain control of my body. Whatever you do, don't go in the realm of fear, but visualize some kind of, creative way to see your energy coming back into you, right? That's going to symbolically allow your spirit body to reintegrate with yourself. So it's nothing to be afraid of. No, you're not under attack. There's not shadow demons in your room that come out to get you when you sleep. Because if you keep feeding attention to that theory, you're only going to make more ways to manifest it. Okay, the thing about the spirit realm, it is what you make it, right? Peter J. Carroll said, nothing is true, everything is permitted. And that definitely applies when it comes to this scenario. If you want to believe that there are spooky shadow creatures that are waiting to get you, then by all means, have at it. But I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't suggest it. What I would suggest is you check out my video that is called How to Defeat Intimidation, because that is something that will definitely get you in the right mindset to conquer that fear when it arises. So yeah, if you would like more information about how to operate with astral travel or even lucid dreaming, I would suggest a book by Robert Bruce called Astral Dynamics. I recommended this book quite a few times here on my channel. It's a great book. It definitely covers a lot of different techniques and a lot of different scenarios that you may or may not face. If you're interested in getting started learning how to do astral travel and that type of thing, I'd recommend a book by Ophiel called The Art and Practice of Astral Travel. I've also mentioned that on plenty of my other videos as well. So yeah, this video mainly goes out to answer the question that the young man sent me on Instagram. This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. Peace.